This is a carousel prototype that freely side scrolls. It's easy to prototype in Figma, but not very user-friendly. This is a carousel that stops at each step. Harder to prototype in Figma, but much more user-friendly. Let's learn how to make both. Welcome to Figma Bites, the video series that aims to teach you to speed up your Figma workflow. Here's the start of a mobile recipe app prototype. If we select this frame and press Shift Spacebar, we can preview the prototype so far. It just scrolls for now. What if we want to add a carousel at the second position so that we can fit more content into view? I've pre-made this content card that we'll use to make a carousel. It already has auto layout set up, so just duplicate it twice so we end up with 3 cards. Next, I'll update the images and content. I jumped ahead and now I have the content in place. Now let's cut the carousel and paste it into our app frame, which already has an auto layout applied. It appears at the bottom of the layout. Use the up arrow key to move it to the second position. I also like to select the parent frame and check the clip content option at the bottom of the auto layout section so that the overflow is hidden. In order to get this to side scroll, select the carousel container frame and change its width to fill container in the auto layout panel on the right. With the carousel container still selected, switch into prototype mode and change the overflow setting to horizontal. Preview the prototype and you'll see that our app scrolls up and down and our carousel side to side. This is a good start, but the side scrolling could be even more user-friendly if the carousel stopped at each piece of content. In order to get the stepped carousel set up, we need 2 copies of our mock. Duplicate this frame 2 times. Now that we have multiples of the same carousel, we should turn it into a component to make editing easier later. Select the first carousel frame and press the shortcut Option-Command-A to select the matching carousel frames. Next, we can press the shortcut Option-Command-K to create a component. And because we are using multi-edit, Figma creates a component for us, places it outside of the mocks, and replaces the selected elements with instances of that component. I've got an entire video about Figma's multi-edit features. You should check it out if this is a new concept for you. You'll notice that the new component isn't filling the full width of the content. With the child layer of the main component selected, head over to the auto layout panel, click the icon with the 4 arrows pointing to the center to resize the frame to fit. This sets the width to hug content. We'll need this to be full width for the next steps to work correctly. Next, let's set up the position of each of the steps in the frames. We're using auto layout, so we can't just move the carousel left or right like we would be able to without auto layout. Feel free to remove auto layout if you like, but I'll show you how to keep it. Select the second frame and move over to the auto layout section in the right panel. Change the alignment to top center. You'll notice that the carousel is now centered in the second step. I think this works fine, but what if we wanted to align the image and content with the rest of the design? Select the second carousel instance and then click the individual padding button in the auto layout settings. Change the right padding to 27 pixels or whatever value gets it aligned correctly in your design. Now select the last frame and change its auto layout alignment to top right. Again, you can keep this aligned to the end, or you can adjust the padding to make sure people understand it's the end of the carousel. If you do this, just make sure you turn on the white fill on the carousel instance. Next up, switch to prototype mode. Select the first carousel and drag a new connection to the second frame. Change the trigger to on drag and the animation to push. Make sure Animate Matching Layers is selected. This only works if the frames all share the same layer names. And then make sure the direction is set to left. Now select the second carousel and connect it to the third frame with the same settings we just applied to the other one. And on the third carousel, make a new connection back to the second frame so the carousel goes either direction. Finally, add a new connection from the second carousel to the first frame and apply the same settings as the previous one. Let's preview the prototype. There we go. We can go back and forth between carousel steps, and it stops at each one to make for a nice interaction. That's how you make a stepped carousel in Figma. I hope this Figma Bite helps you craft conceptually complete carousels creatively. Thanks for watching.